It gives me great pleasure to present two life memberships, and I've known both of these gentlemen for a long time. They've been great supporters and great workers at the club. The first life membership is awarded tonight to John Shaw. John has been an eager volunteer. John has been an eager volunteer of the Essendon Football Club for 22 years. He's held countless roles from towelman to doorman, and to even be the watcher for the opposition spies out in the ground. Even almost security man, so to speak. He pays his own way to travel with the team and monitor the change rooms. He's a passionate Essendon supporter and has given so much to this beloved club, which is why we are delighted to award him with life membership.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Simon, for those kind words about my involvement with the Essendon Football Club over the years. To receive life membership of this proud and successful football club is a very great honour, and I feel both proud and privileged to be acknowledged in this way tonight. I'm also very humbled to be included in the long list of very distinguished Essendon people who have received life membership in the past. I would like to thank the board for awarding life membership to me, as well as whoever nominated me for this award. I think that my very good friend and fellow doorman, Alan Stevens, may have had something to do with this, as well as 2 or 3 others within the club. How did I come to get involved with Essendon in the first place? Well, one of my grandfathers had a farm at Little River, and he was very keen to get me to follow Geelong, which had an excellent side at that time. His problem was that my other grandfather lived in Lawn Street, Moonee Ponds, which was not too far from Windy Hill, where I could watch John Coleman take spectacular marks and kick many goals for the Bombers. I was a bit lucky to see Coleman play so many of his games because I had just turned 6 when I was standing on the gate of the house in Lawn Street when a lady named Mrs. O'Sullivan walked past and asked my grandmother why I was so upset. She replied that I wanted to go to the footy, but there was nobody who could take me. Luckily for me, Mrs. O'Sullivan said she was going to the footy and offered to take me with her. I went with her to all of the home games and several of the away games in 1952. The next year, I went on the train on my own. They don't do that these days. It was a very rewarding dummy spit, as it turned out. Another significant piece of good fortune was when I met John Deed through one of my Altona councillors, and we became very good friends. In 1991, I told John that if ever a voluntary job like his came up at Essendon, I would love to get involved. At the beginning of 1993, he phoned me and said that 2 spots had become available and Kevin Sheedy would like to speak to me at a practice match at Skinner Reserve the next day. After sitting on the bench beside Sheeds for 2 quarters, I was told later that day I was successful. So I joined Deedy in setting up the bench, retrieving footballs from the crowd and kicking them back to the players, as well as taking drinks out to the players at the quarter time and 3/4 time breaks and loading the truck after the game. 1993 provided me with the most fabulous start at Essendon. We took all before us that year, with the club winning the Night Flag, the 1993 Premiership with the Baby Bombers. The Brownlow Medal was won by Gavin Wanganeen, and Michael Long won the Norm Smith Medal. It also happened to be the year that Dustin Fletcher started playing for the Bombers, and the 2 of us are still together 22 years later. A couple of years later, I was given the very challenging role of taking the coach's messages on the bench and passing them on to our runner, Brian Wood. I did that until I got sacked by Sheeds after about 2 years in that role. Despite that, Sheeds and I have remained very good friends over the time. I have thoroughly enjoyed my involvement with the club, and I hope to continue it for quite a while to come. But Doc Reid might have something to say about that, because he always does. In conclusion, I'd like to thank my family for all of their support and understanding of my priorities over the past 22 years, particularly, things like weddings and other important functions, and I say if you want to get married on a certain day, well, I won't be there. Is that right, Lisa? I'd also particularly like to thank my late wife Lorraine and my current partner Susan Ellis for their fantastic support to me, respectively. Without that support, I would not be accepting this honour tonight. I'm extremely pleased to see so many of my family here tonight, and I thank them for their attendance. I would also like to congratulate the next Life Membership awardee, but I'll leave his name to be announced in a moment. Thank you all.